Thank you. Thank you. And mazel tov to all. Today is a very special day for our institution as we gather to celebrate the achievements of our graduates and our honorees. My name is Alan Levine, and I have the great honor of serving as the chair of the Board of Trustees of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. On behalf of my colleagues on the Board of Trustees, the administration, the faculty, I am truly delighted to welcome all of you to the 132nd Commencement Exercises of the Jewish Theological Seminary. The shofar blast is a hallmark of JTS Commencement, and I thank JTS alumna Rabbi Beth Nadich for sounding it for us this year. In a few minutes, Rabbi Nadich's son, Gabriel Shai Friedman Nadich, will graduate from List College. Mazel tov to the entire family. The call of the shofar evokes a range of emotions and associations from throughout Jewish history. It is a symbol of renewal, a call to action, and the sound of revelation, all at the same time. It embodies perfectly the excitement and anticipation that we all feel at this very moment. Now, please join in as JTS student Mark Samuel Schechter leads us in the Star-Spangled Banner and Hatikva as we prepare to sing these two national anthems, we can also reflect on our deep and abiding love for these two nations, the United States of America and Israel.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Kolot baleva fenima, nefesh Yehudi moria, ulfate Mizrach kadima, ein Lezion Sophia, od lada tikvateinu, atikva b'shnat alpayim, li'otam chofshi me'artzeinu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim. Li'otam chofshi me'artzeinu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim.
Thank you. Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I now call on Rabbi Ron Fish to lead the invocation. Rabbi Fish is the Eastern Division Director of Anti-Semitism Education and Advocacy at the ADL, as well as a proud father. His son, Dor Fishman Byler, will be awarded a Bachelor of Arts degree today.
Dory. Proud to say I am currently with Brandeis University in a new initiative on anti-Semitism, and I am thrilled to be here today. Boker Tov and Mazal Tov to all of our graduates. Dear God, Ribono Shel Olam Hatov v'Hametiv, the one who is wholly good, we come before you today filled with gratitude. We are grateful for your Torat Chesed, which provides us access to the wisdom of our ancestors and a glimpse of your mind. as we seek to build a world of compassion and faithful communities of love. We are grateful for the extraordinary and dedicated teachers who appear before us today, including our Chancellor, Shuli Schwartz, and Chancellor-elect Mike Uram. And all of the scholars, all of the teachers who provide us with access to Torah through the classroom and the lives they live. In just under 60 hours, we will be celebrating Matan Torah, but because of them, those of you who've been blessed to be here, you have enjoyed Kabbalat Torah every day of your lives. We are grateful for these dedicated students. And imminently, graduates, rabbis, and chazanim, they are like ka'ayal ta'arog alafi kemayim, like a deer thirsting for water. They demonstrate day in and day out the love of the search for meaning and connection and Torah. We are grateful for the parents, grandparents, family members, siblings, friends, and others who have made all of this learning possible. We are grateful to all of the honorees here in person and virtually, including Kvod HaNasi Yitzchak Herzog for his vision and dedication to the welfare of the Jewish people, Ba'aretz u'michutza la, in and outside the borders of the land of Israel, and for your voice of hope, as you have consistently said, we are peace seekers. May Israel ever be. We stand before you today as well, mindful of the fact that more than 3,000 years ago, our people were joined as one, and a bracha, which is not quite numerically appropriate today, was crafted by the rabbis whenever we encounter 600,000 Jews together once more. We call God in this context Chacham Harazim, the one whose wisdom untangles the greatest mystery of all, the cacophony of human minds, necessarily seeing the world from their own point of view. Our graduates are headed out into a time of great uncertainty and division. These divisions are within the United States, they are between generations, and among Jews who see your truth through different eyes. We ask, God, that you share with our graduates from your storehouse of understanding. May they balance sometimes competing midot, competing qualities, the qualities of quiet humility against robust advocacy for righteousness, balancing learning and doing, preserving and creating what is new, of embracing Jewish particularism and never forgetting the universal, celebrating the essential divinity in every human soul. For in these tensions, and even in these sometimes apparent contradictions, we come to perceive the deepest mysteries of human life, and we see you. In Midrash Rabbah, Moshe Rabbeinu asked God to ensure the future leadership of our people will appreciate the complexity of diversity. He says, Ribono shel olam galui v'yadua lefanecha, da'atan shel kol echad ve'echad, ve'en da'atan shel banecha domin ze lazeh, כשם שאין פרצופיהן דומים זה לזה, כי אין דעתן שווים זה לזה, אלא כל אחד ואחד יש לו דעה בפני עצמו. God, you know the minds of each and every one of your children, and each is unique. For as their faces are distinct in appearance, so are their inner lives and opinions. That is why you are called Elohei Haruchot, the God of so many distinct souls. God who gives the precious gift of Torah to Israel, and who is also the source of all life and the master of all creation. God of judgment, who is filled with mercy, whose symbol is a burning bush that is not consumed. Help these graduates and all of us live in the mystery of your world. Baruch atah, Chacham Harazim.
Rabbi Fish, thank you for those moving words, and mazel tov to you and your family. Distinguished honorees, members of the JTS faculty, administration, and board of trustees, representatives of the conservative movement, especially Rabbi Gisa Ederberg, president of the Rabbinical Assembly here from Berlin, and from Israel, Izhar Hess, vice chairman of the World Zionist Organization, friends from the entire community, and Acharon Haviv, our graduates and their families, friends and guests. I once again welcome you to this special day of celebration, and I'm also thrilled to welcome back the Chancellor-elect Rabbi Mike Urim, who will be on July 1, the 9th Chancellor of JTS, and will succeed Chancellor Shuli Rubin Schwartz. I would also like to welcome members of the administration of our sister academic institutions who are joining us today. From Columbia University, Ian Rottenberg, Dean of Religious Life. From Columbia's School of General Studies, Dean Lisa Rosen-Metsch. Malik Muftar, Associate Director for Domestic Programs, Jessica Sarles, Senior Associate Dean for Strategic Initiatives and Partnerships, Dean Marlon Delva from Union Theological Seminary, Professor Mary C. Boyce, Skinner and McAlkin Professor of Practical Theology at the Union Theological Seminary. As we come together to celebrate our remarkable graduating students and distinguished honorees, we do so with a deep awareness of the extraordinary experiences that shaped your years on campus. Since the fall of 22, when many of you began, the world looks very different. I was in college during the Vietnam War and the campus unrest of that era. But what you experienced in these last 4 years is different, more personal, more profound. And yet, through it all, you showed resilience, strength, courage, and an unwavering spirit. And you have inspired not only me, but the entire JTS faculty, administration, and your loved ones. Many of you have shared gratitude for being at JTS during this time, surrounded by a community that could support and sustain you, yet we are also the ones that are grateful. I wholeheartedly congratulate each and every one of you on reaching this milestone. Today, we stand together to honor the accomplishments of our graduates and our honorees with great anticipation for all the meaningful contributions that you will make in this world. Today, this day, is a celebration of you, your dedication, your perseverance, and your achievement, and you have every reason to be proud. In that spirit, please silence your cell phones if you haven't already done so. Let these celebrations be a celebration of optimism and hope for a brighter tomorrow. I have the privilege of serving as chair of this vibrant and vital institution, and presiding at these commencement ceremonies is one of the most enjoyable and gratifying moments of the year for me personally. From up here, I see radiant smiles of parents, grandparents, the pride shining in the eyes of family and friends, and the unmistakable joy that fills this space. And of course, we see you, our graduates, filled with anticipation for what lies ahead. Graduates, I ask you to take a moment to reflect on those around you, those who have supported you, believed in you, stood by you on this journey. On this day, which belongs not only to you, but to them as well, please join me in offering them a resounding round of applause. I'd also like to take a moment to congratulate the dedicated staff and faculty of JTS. As this academic year comes to a close, there is so much to celebrate and be proud of, including rising enrollment, innovative programs, and expanded access to JTS's scholarship. I now have the great pleasure, of introducing the Chancellor of the Jewish Theological Seminary and President of its faculties, Dr. Shuli Rubin Schwartz. And extend the Mazal Tov and congratulations and deep gratitude to her for her visionary leadership for the past 6 years. She will preside over the next portion of the program. We recently celebrated Chancellor Schwartz's many years of dedicated service and her remarkable accomplishments. I encourage you to visit our website to learn more about how, for the past 35 years, she has been an integral part of JTS, and how her vision, leadership, and scholarship has inspired and influenced countless individuals, leaving a lasting impact on the JTS community and the broader Jewish world. We are also thrilled that shortly after these proceedings are over, Chancellor Schwartz will sneak out the back door in order to go down to receive Barnard's Medal of Distinction at its commencement ceremony. a member of the class of 1974, she is being recognized by Barnard for her visionary educational leadership, her commitment to advancing women's leadership, and her willingness to lead with conviction. Dr. Schwartz.
Thank you so much. Members of the board, and especially its chair, with whom I have had the distinct privilege of partnering as we advance the mission of this marvelous institution, my beloved colleagues on the faculty, trusted administration, representatives of the conservative movement and the World Zionist Organization, our dear graduates, honored guests, family, and Chancellor-elect Mike Urim. I, too, am delighted to welcome all of you to these commencement exercises and to wish all of you mazal tov, to all of you and to all of us on this special day. Just wanted to make sure they're here. It is now my privilege to begin by conferring the honorary degrees, a tradition that began at JTS in 1904. Those receiving honorary degrees today join a distinguished list of scientists, artists, scholars, public servants, and leaders of the Jewish community. In awarding these degrees, which have been approved by the JTS Board of Trustees, JTS acknowledges the teaching of Rabban Shimon Gamliel in Pirkei Avot, the wisdom of our sages. Lo hamidrashu ha'ikar ela ha'ma'aseh, not study but deeds, are essential. JTS honors these individuals for their outstanding accomplishments as well as their exemplary learning. It is now my great pleasure to invite Rabbi Edward Feld to the podium. He is sponsored by Mr. Barry Lovell, a member of the JTS board, and Rabbi Jan Orbach, director of JTS's Block Kolkor Center for the Spiritual Arts. Rabbi Feld, your extraordinary contributions to Jewish theology and liturgy have deepened engagement with Jewish tradition, ethics, and prayer for students, scholars, spiritual leaders, and the Jews in the pews. For nearly 3 decades, you have served as senior editor of the groundbreaking Lev Shalem prayer book series. These transformative prayer books revitalized contemporary Jewish worship, beginning with the first major revision of the conservative movement Machzor in nearly 40 years. Blending tradition with contemporary gender-inclusive language and your exquisite commentary, your work has enabled hundreds of thousands of Jews worldwide to engage more deeply in prayer. In recognition of this achievement, you were named among Forward's 50's most influential Jews. A prolific writer and scholar, you are the author of the Book of Revolutions, named a 2023 top reference book by the Academy of Parish Clergy, as well as Joy, Despair, and Hope and the Spirit of Renewal. Your scholarship, mentorship, and humanity have profoundly shaped Jewish worship and will continue to inspire generations to come. Acting on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my honor and privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Hebrew Letters honoris causa. It is now my pleasure to invite Ms. Ruth Marcus to the podium. She is sponsored by Ms. Abby Joseph Cohen, JTS Board Chair Emerita, and Dr. Barry Holtz, Theodore and Florence Baumritter Professor of Jewish Education. Ruth Marcus, as a journalist, author, and editor, you have exemplified integrity, thoughtful public discourse, and civic engagement. Over 4 decades at the Washington Post, most recently as associate editor and opinion columnist, you became one of the nation's most respected voices on the Supreme Court, the Justice Department, the presidency, and the intersection of law and politics. A finalist for the 2007 Pulitzer Prize in Commentary, you bridged legal scholarship and public conversation with clarity and insight. In 2025, after departing the Washington Post when an opinion piece was rejected, your subsequent essays in The New Yorker sparked a national conversation about the responsibilities of the press and the importance of editorial independence. Your acclaimed book, Supreme Ambition, Brett Kavanaugh and the Conservative Takeover, further demonstrated your incisive analysis of American law and politics. Grounded in Jewish values and a commitment to Zionism, you and your work reflect a deep belief in democracy, dialogue, and intellectual honesty. In an era of polarization, your courage and principled writing continues to challenge us, inform, inspire across ideological divides. Acting on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my honor and privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. It is now my pleasure to invite Ms. Deborah Messing to the podium. She is sponsored by Ms. Ruth Hendel, a member of the JTS Board, and Dr. Robert Harris, Professor of Bible and Ancient Semitic Languages. Deborah Messing, you have built an acclaimed career in television and the performing arts while serving as a courageous and compassionate advocate for the Jewish people. A graduate of Brandeis University and NYU, you became a household name through your Emmy award-winning portrayal of Grace Adler on Will and Grace. A groundbreaking series whose depiction of friendship and LGBTQ inclusion brought affirmation and hope to audiences worldwide. By emphasizing Grace's Jewish identity, you also helped create one of television's most positive and enduring Jewish female characters. Your distinguished career has included acclaimed roles in The Starter Wife, Smash, The Mysteries of Laura, and the Broadway production of Outside Mullinger, as well as the revival of Will and Grace. In recognition of your impact, you received GLAAD's Excellence in Media Award and a star on the Hollywood Hall of Fame. In recent years, you have emerged as a leading public advocate for Israel and the Jewish community. You spoke at the 2023 March for Israel, met with hostage families during Solidarity trip to Israel, and served as executive producer of the 2025 outstanding documentary October 8, examining rising anti-Semitism and misinformation. At a time when moral clarity is deeply needed, your advocacy and public leadership continues to reflect the enduring power of Jewish values and courage. Acting on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my honor and privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa. It is now my pleasure to invite Dr. Peter Schaefer to the podium. He is sponsored by Mr. Alan Klein, a member of the JTS Board, and Rabbi Burton L. Visotsky, Nathan and Janet Applebaum Professor Emeritus of Midrash and Interreligious Studies. Peter Schaefer, your groundbreaking scholarship in ancient religion has transformed the study of early Judaism, Jewish mysticism, and the relationship between Judaism and Christianity. You have played an instrumental role in reviving the discipline of Jewish studies in post-Holocaust Germany. As Perelman Professor of Jewish Studies and Professor of Religion Emeritus at Princeton University, you shaped generations of students and scholars through your teaching, mentorship, and intellectual leadership. You also played a foundational role in advancing the field through your leadership of Princeton's program in Judaic Studies and as co-founder of the Jewish Studies Quarterly. Your influential books, including The Jewish Jesus, Origins of Jewish Mysticism, and Jesus in the Talmud, have reshaped scholarly understanding of Jewish history and thought on both sides of the Atlantic. Honored with Germany's Leibniz Prize and the Mellon Award in the Humanities, your scholarship has earned international distinction. Following your return to Germany, you continued your leadership as honorary professor at Humboldt University in Berlin, director of the Jewish Museum Berlin, and trustee of the Memorial to the Murdered Jews of Europe Foundation. A scholar of extraordinary breadth, rigor, and humanity, you have established yourself as one of the most influential voices in Jewish studies and in the humanities at large. Acting on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my honor and privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Hebrew Letters honoris causa. Unfortunately, we are unable to hood our fifth honorary degree recipient at this moment, the President of the State of Israel, Isaac Herzog. I look forward to presenting his honorary degree to him in person at a later date. President Herzog's citation can be found in the program. We are honored that President Herzog will deliver today's commencement address virtually. Because this message has been pre-recorded on Friday, Please hold your applause until the end. And I now ask you to turn your attention to the television screens as we hear from President Herzog.
Dear friends, I'm so pleased to take part in this celebration of Jewish academic excellence at the Jewish Theological Seminary. I apologize for not being able to join this event in person. I had hoped to be with you, but having just returned from a historic visit to Central America, where incidentally I was met with deep affection and longing for Israel, and due to sensitive circumstances in our region, I welcome this opportunity to speak to you by video. Mazal Tov to my fellow honorees, Rabbi Edward Feld, Ruth Marcus, Deborah Messing, and Peter Schaefer. I'm delighted to share this stage with each and every one of you. To our dear friend, Chancellor Shuli Rubin Schwartz, thank you, Toda, for decades of scholarship and leadership, for guiding this paramount institution towards the future you envisioned, with a steady hand and a gracious heart. I congratulate Rabbi Mike Uram on being selected the next Chancellor of JTS. Rabbi Uram, may you continue to use your abilities and strength to learn, teach, and spread Torah. Ladies and gentlemen, over the course of its 140 years, the seminary has served as a sounding board for some of the greatest debates and most consequential discussions in modern Jewish history. The idea that echoed through the halls of the seminary have informed, revolutionized, shaped, at times shocked, and always enriched the ongoing conversation taking place in Jewish households, simultaneously across the globe and across generations. The core message of the seminary and of the broader conservative movement speaks, in my mind, to so many of us: sincere, scholarly, timeless, accessible Judaism. Personally, I see the JTS as a large tent that can hold modern-day complexities and enable so many Jews to realize a multitude of identities and find their own voice. The contribution of the JTS to our ongoing Jewish conversation is vital for a vibrant Jewish future. Throughout my adult life, I've worked to represent the entirety of Am Yisrael and to guarantee a space for every stream and community throughout the Jewish and Israeli collective. I am proud of my role in designating part of the Western Wall for egalitarian prayer some 30 years ago. I remain committed to preserving the Ezrat Israel Plaza at the Kotel in the spirit of collective Jewish identity and to working with your leadership in Israel and around the world. Clearly, I guess I was influenced by my own interactions with the conservative movement and the seminary in my youth. When my late father, Chaim Herzog, who would later become Israel's 6th president, served as Israel's ambassador to the United Nations back in the 70s, our family spent a number of years in New York. In 1977, my father was honored by this very institution, and I'm privileged to follow in his footsteps. I recall, as a teenager, walking to 122nd Street to study with Rabbi Herbie Kavon. I recall the wonderful summers I spent at Camp Ramah. And I recall visiting with Rabbi Professor Shaul Lieberman, Zatzal, who led JTS at the time in a campus apartment upstairs and spending time in his sukkah. These experiences encapsulate what JTS has meant to me: outstanding academics, positive, enthusiastic Yiddishkeit with like-minded peers, and deep spiritual and Talmudic leadership. Above all, to me, the JTS has always shined the brightest when its leaders embraced Israel. They may not have agreed always with every policy and statement, still they celebrated our people's return to our ancient homeland. They overwhelmingly embraced the building of the one and only nation state of the Jewish people, the Jewish Democratic State of Israel, Medinat Israel. In the words of the great Rabbi Avraham Joshua Heschel Zatzal, the state of Israel, he said, having been born out of our soul, is itself a state of our soul, a reality within us, a necessity of history. Israel is the only state, he added, which bears the same name, speaks the same tongue, upholds the same faith, inhabits the same land as it did 3,000 years ago. It is a commitment we must not betray. So, dear friends, it is a fact that many of the great American Zionist leaders were prominent figures in the conservative movement. Solomon Schechter, Henrietta Szold, Simon Greenberg, Louis Finkelstein, Heschel, and Lieberman, the finest teachers and spiritual giants of JTS, were committed to the idea of Israel and left a profound legacy of connection, which we are now responsible to maintain and to nurture. This is a conscious act of unity, of mutual responsibility and of hope for the generations that will follow. Because along with the marriage of contextual Jewish learning and secular academic excellence, Israel has always been and must always remain inherent to this framework, to this movement, to the Jewish people in every corner of the globe. Remembering that we all share a history and recognizing that we all share a future empowers us and requires us to voice our concerns and to respect our differences. This is especially true for the delicate fabric of Israel-diaspora relationship. Whilst to some, Israel looks different from the other side of the Atlantic, our sages caution us, do not judge your friend until you have reached his place. Al tadin et chavercha ad shetagia lemkomo. The only way to truly understand Israel is to be in Israel, to raise children in bomb shelters, to be a lifelong peace seeker who is taken hostage and tortured to death, to flee a playground of fear of shrapnels from a missile launched thousands of miles away, to suffer the devastation of October 7th, only to discover that in the eyes of a hypocritical world, Israel is the culprit. When in reality, Israel is protecting the free world and defending Western civilization. In reality, Israel is a post-traumatic society in an elections year, grappling with very serious questions and fiercely debating the future. I recognize also that the only way to fully appreciate the immense fear and anti-Semitism you are experiencing, the depths of rejection of Jews masquerading as rejection of the Jewish state, is to be in the diaspora. I know many of you are experiencing pain and apprehension as we are seeing waves of hatred we thought we would never see again. There's no question. The challenges we each face are grave. The only possible way to face them is to face them together. This is a time for setting aside bias and misinformation and making space for intense, active listening and internal dialogue. This is a time for brave hearts to tune out the noise and tune in to the Jewish story we are writing together. This is a time for strengthening alliances, for enhancing communities, for nurturing old and new partnerships. Partnerships such as Voice of the People, my own initiative for building a shared Jewish future, which has invigorated the global Jewish conversation. Or even programs like Tichon Rama Yerushalayim, led by, in a mission which I recently met, led by Rabbi Amy Scott Cooper. They recently came to visit me, and I found an enthusiastic group of high schoolers studying in Israel, leaving me inspired and optimistic. This is how we reinforce global Jewish communities and connect the branches of our Jewish family with roots that are planted deeply in Israel. Heschel wrote of the state of Israel, and I quote, "We have been beset by a case of spiritual amnesia, and whenever we tend to be forgetful," he added, "history sends us a reminder." We have seen the painful reminder of history in Sydney's Bondi Beach, in Manchester's synagogue, in New York and in Detroit, in Toronto and elsewhere. And Heschel was right. We cannot afford to forget, nor can we take Israel for granted. Israel will always defend Jewish communities around the world. And I pray that we succeed in not only eliminating external threats, but in broadening our partnerships in the region. We will continue to reach out to nations around us, and we will exhaust every effort to ensure a safe and peaceful future for Israel, for our neighbors, including the Palestinians, for all peoples of the Middle East. Dear brothers and sisters, some of us may remember that last month marked 60 years to the devastating fire at the world-renowned JTS library. In the aftermath of the tragedy, Jewish kids showed up to help salvage the drenched library books. The kids who spent hours placing paper towels between millions of pages of books to absorb the water and save the books came from school all across Manhattan. Conservative, secular, Orthodox, Reform, they all showed up to rescue spiritual treasures of the Jewish people. No questions asked. On October 7th, Israelis ran towards the fire, towards the Nova Festival, towards the armed terrorists to rescue anyone they could find and save. Everyone showed up to save as many lives as possible. No questions asked. Here in Jerusalem, as in New York City, we must keep showing up for each other. We must continue the conversation. We must keep working together, and we must keep hearing each other. In 3 days' time, on Shavuot, we will all be receiving the Torah, as we have done year after year, for centuries and millennia, since Moses came down from Mount Sinai, and Am Yisrael declared, Naaseh v'nishma. We will do, and we will listen. I accept humbly this honor on behalf of those who do, those who listen, those who keep showing up. I accept it on behalf of a proud, resilient, eternal people of Israel. May the graduates, the faculty, the supporters, and the leaders of the Jewish Theological Seminary continue to carry this torch from generation to generation. Midor ledor. Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you very much, and see you all in Jerusalem.
We thank President Herzog for his stirring words, his warm friendship. We are indebted to him for the honor he has bestowed on this institution and its many supporters. We are deeply grateful for his meaningful and enduring wisdom. I now turn your attention to the chorus of the H.L. Miller Cantorial School, directed by Cantor Natasha Hirschhorn, to perform one of my favorite songs, Lashir Ze Kmo Liot Yarden and Odecha. The Hebrew and English lyrics are in the back of your program should you wish to follow along.
Thank you, Cantor Hirshhorn and members of the chorus, for enriching this ceremony through your beautiful music. My name is Dr. Jeff Kress, and thank you. And I am the provost here at JTS, and today I could add to my resume that I have appeared on stage on Broadway with Deborah Messing. So. Never thought I'd say that. Before we confer the degrees in course, I would like to call your attention to the commencement program, where you'll find the listing of prizes that have been awarded to the students of our schools. We congratulate all those who have been so honored. Also listed are those who have earned JTS's Certificate in Spiritual Care and Counseling, Certificate in Judaica and Hebraica Librarianship, and Certificate in Biblical Hebrew. These certificates are awarded to people of all faiths who have completed a curriculum of Jewishly grounded academic learning in specific subjects. We're also excited to recognize participants in our Emerging Leaders Fellowship, our Young Jewish Leaders of Tomorrow. We congratulate all of this year's certificate recipients. Many of these new programs reflect Chancellor Schwartz's bold strategic vision, which has broadened the scope of JTS education and extended its reach far beyond the 3080 campus, initiatives for which we are profoundly grateful and which will have a lasting impact on our community. In addition, you'll find a list of students graduating from Project Judaica, a unique program sponsored by JTS in cooperation with the Institute of Oriental Studies of the Ukrainian Academy of Sciences in Kyiv. Project Judaica graduates go on to assume leadership positions in Ukrainian Jewish communities and in Jewish scholarship. We now recognize publicly members of the faculty who have contributed immensely to our students' success over a span of many years and who have recently marked significant transitions in their career. Chancellor Shuli Rubin Schwartz. Much has been said about your extraordinary leadership, not only as chancellor, but throughout your distinguished tenure as professor, dean, and provost. JTS is deeply indebted to you for your unwavering dedication and vision. We look forward to continuing to benefit from your scholarship and teaching when you return to the faculty following a well-deserved sabbatical. We also recognize Dr. David Kramer, JTS's Joseph J. and Dora Abel librarian, who is stepping down at the close of this academic year after 22 years of distinguished service. His inspired stewardship of the library has enriched the entire JTS community and extended its reach far beyond our campus, making countless treasures accessible to thousands around the world through digitization projects, exhibits, and the innovative new website, Jewish Books, Jewish Worlds. We are grateful that he will continue to inspire students as a devoted full-time member of the faculty, teaching Talmud and Rabbinics following his sabbatical. And lastly, we'd like to publicly thank our Vice Chancellor for Institutional Advancement, Rabbi Joel Seltzer, who will assume the role of CEO of American Friends of Leket Israel. During his 3 years in this position, Rabbi Seltzer made a lasting impact on JTS, and he'll be greatly missed. At this time, I'm also pleased to note, in your program, you'll find a listing of the JTS class of 1976, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary. We congratulate the members of the class on reaching this major milestone. You and all our JTS alumni remain so important to us. You're JTS's ambassadors, carrying your learning with you throughout your professional and personal lives, and making invaluable contributions as leaders in a wide variety of fields. We now ask our esteemed alumni from the class of 1976 who are here in person today to rise if you're able so that you can be recognized. And we now ask all wonderful alumni of JTS who are here today in person to rise if you are able as well. We celebrate your collective impact on the Jewish community and pray that you go from strength to strength. I would like to call on Rabbi Joel Schwab to lead the families of the graduates in the Shehecheyanu blessing. Rabbi Schwab was ordained by JTS in 1976 and became the spiritual leader of Temple Sinai in Middletown, New York in 1982, serving for more than 30 years. He helped shape Jewish life in Orange County by co-founding Jewish Family Service of Orange County and serving as the first chair of the Jewish Family Service of Orange County and the first rabbi to lead the Greater Middletown Interfaith Council. After retiring in 2015, he embraced his favorite role yet, full-time grandfather. He is also the uncle of a Davidson and Rabbinical School graduate and the proud father of 2 LIST alumni.
Thank you. As the proud father of 2 LIST graduates, I now ask the parents, grandparents, partners, and children of the graduates for this year to please rise and to remain standing. We recognize, don't sit down. We recognize and appreciate the essential role that you've played in making this day possible, and we rejoice with you as you witness the fulfillment of long-standing hopes and dreams. Please join me in reciting Shehecheyanu so that we can mark this special occasion. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'kiyanu hazman hazeh. Praise you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, for granting us life, for sustaining us, and enabling us to reach this special day. You may be seated.
Rabbi Schwab, thank you. We now turn to conferring the degrees in course, which will be awarded by the school in the following order: the Gershon Kex Graduate School, the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education, the Division of Lifelong and Professional Studies, the Albert A. List College of Jewish Studies, the H.L. Miller Cantorial School and College of Jewish Music, and the Rabbinical School. The dean or director of each school will present the candidates, and the chancellor will then confer the degrees by the authority vested in the JTS Board of Trustees by the Board of Regents of the University of the State of New York. At JTS, we're proud to call the graduating students up to the podium individually in recognition of the hard work and dedication that brought them to this moment. While the names of candidates who could not attend appear in the commencement program, they will not be called. In keeping with our custom, please withhold your applause until all the degrees in each group have been conferred. I now call upon Dr. Amy Kalmanovsky, Dean of the Gershon Kex Graduate School, and Blanche and Romy Shapiro Professor of Bible, to present the candidates for degrees in that school.
Which mic? I'm going to do here. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Dr. Kress. Chancellor Schwartz, the Gershon Kex Graduate School will award the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy, Doctor of Hebrew Literature, and Master of Arts today. We will begin with the conferral of the doctoral degrees. Each of the following candidates has completed with due and appropriate satisfaction all the required academic programs and examinations which qualify them for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Gershon Kex Graduate School of JTS, and has as their sponsor a member of the faculty who has helped guide their studies and research. So I now call upon Dr. Richard Kalman, Theodore R. Rakusin Professor of Talmud and Rabbinics, and Dr. Marjorie Lehman, Professor of Talmud and Rabbinics, to present Daniel Roni Gold.
I need the,
Go ahead.
okay. Sorry.
No.
Chancellor Schwartz, I have the honor of presenting Daniel Roni Gold, candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in course. Danny has successfully defended with distinction an original dissertation entitled, "That's Greek to Me, Rabbinic Greek as Creative Xenophonic Discourse."
now call upon Rabbi Burton Visotsky, Nathan and Janet Appleman Professor Emeritus of Midrash and Interreligious Studies, to present Benjamin Haber Kamine.
Chancellor Schwartz, I have the honor of presenting Benjamin Haber Kamine, candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in course. Ben has successfully defended an original dissertation entitled The Development of the Tannaitic Mean, Simple Sectarian and Dangerous Deviant.
Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, upon the recommendation of the faculty, which recognizes your scholarly achievements, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, which you have earned in course. We congratulate you on your achievement and welcome you to the company of scholars.
Chancellor Schwartz, each of the following candidates has completed with due and appropriate satisfaction all the required academic programs and examinations which qualify them for the degree of Doctor of Hebrew Literature in the Gershon Kex Graduate School of JTS, and has as their sponsor a member of the faculty who has helped guide their studies and research. I now call upon Dr. Benjamin D. Summer, Professor of Bible and Ancient Semitic Languages, to present Ira Daniel Tokayer.
Chancellor Schwartz, I have the honor of presenting Ira Daniel Tokayer, candidate for the degree of Doctor of Hebrew Literature in course. Ira has successfully completed an original dissertation entitled Conceptions of Peoplehood in the Pentateuch and Its Sources.
I once again call upon Dr. Benjamin Summer to present Rachel Weinstein.
Dr. Schwartz, Chancellor Schwartz, I have the honor of presenting Rachel Weinstein for the degree of Doctor of Hebrew Literature in course. Rachel has successfully completed an original dissertation entitled Perspectival Ambiguity, the use of ra'ah ki as an evaluative comment by the biblical narrator.
Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Hebrew Literature, upon the recommendation of the faculty, which recognizes your scholarly accomplishments, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the degree of Doctor of Hebrew Literature, which you have earned in course. I congratulate you on your achievement and welcome you to the company of scholars.
I'll go. Chancellor Schwartz, I now present the candidates who have satisfactorily and successfully, I hope, fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Master of Arts in the Gershon Kex Graduate School of JTS. I invite the candidates to rise and come forward to the platform as I call their names and ask that they remain standing when they return to their seats. Zachary Meir Bernstein Rothberg. Eitan Raphael Bluestein. Micah Weinberg Cowan. Jacob Kaplan Lipkin. Michael Solomon Littman. Wade Jacob Melnick. Sarah Rockford.
Candidates for the degree of Master of Arts, you have completed the prescribed course of instruction and fulfilled the language, research, and other requirements of the Gershon Kex Graduate School of JTS. In recognition of the accomplishments and acting upon the recommendation of the faculty and the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Arts, which you have earned in course. We congratulate you on this well-earned achievement.
Thank you, Chancellor Schwartz. I now call upon Dr. Abigail Ehrman, Director of the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education and Associate Professor of Jewish Education, to present the degrees in the William Davidson School of Jewish Education.
Thank you, Dr. Kress. Chancellor Schwartz, I am now pleased to present to you the candidates for degrees in the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education. The William David Graduate School of Jewish Education will award the degrees of Doctor of Education and Masters of Arts today. We will begin with the conferral of the doctoral degrees. Each of the following candidates has completed with due and appropriate satisfaction all the required academic programs and examinations which qualify them for the degree of Doctor of Education in the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education of JTS, and has as their sponsor a member of the faculty who has helped guide their studies and research. I now call upon Dr. Jeff Kress and Dr. Shira Epstein, former Dean of the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education, to present Saul Kaiserman.
Chancellor Schwartz. Oops, where am I? Oh, here we go. Dr. Epstein and I have the honor of presenting Saul Kaiserman, candidate for the degree of Doctor of Education in course. Saul has successfully defended an original dissertation entitled Being Called Rabbi Educator, Making a Living Through Sacred Work.
I once again call upon Dr. Kress and Dr. Meredith Katz, former clinical assistant professor of the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education, to present Cynthia Rochelle Kozera.
Chancellor Schwartz, Dr. Katz and I have the honor of presenting Cynthia Rochelle Kozarag, candidate for the degree of Doctor of Education in course. Cynthia has successfully defended an original dissertation entitled Bring Them Safely In and Safely Out, Ontario Teachers' Perceived Readiness to Implement a Holocaust Mandate in 6th grade classrooms.
I once again call upon Dr. Kress to present Orna Siegel.
Chancellor Schwartz, I have the honor of presenting Orna Siegel, candidate for the degree of Doctor of Education in course. Orna has successfully defended an original dissertation entitled Identity and Motivation of Educators of Other Faiths in Early Childhood Jewish Education Classrooms. No idea how to say that.
Wait. As candidates for the degree of Doctor of Education, upon the recommendation of the faculty, which recognizes your scholarly accomplishments, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Education, which you have earned in course. We congratulate you on your achievement and welcome you to the company of scholars.
Chancellor Schwartz, I am now privileged to present the candidates who have satisfactorily fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Masters of Arts in the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education. I invite the candidates to rise and come forward to the platform as I call their names and ask that they remain standing when they return to their seats. Rachel Beth Cohn. Naima Hirsch Gelman. Netta Lerner. Rina Yocheved Zuckerman.
Thank you, Dr. Ehrman. Candidates for the degree of Master of Arts, you have completed the prescribed course of instruction and have fulfilled the language, research, and other requirements of the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education. You are well aware of the sacred nature of your vocation. Your energy, learning, and talent bodes well for the future of the Jewish people, the teaching of Torah, and the thriving of the Jewish spirit. In recognition of these accomplishments and acting upon the recommendation of the faculty and the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Arts, which you have earned in course. We congratulate you on this well-earned achievement.
At this time, I call upon Dr. Lisa Springer, Dean of the Division of Lifelong and Professional Studies and Associate Provost for Continuing and Digital Learning, and Rabbi Naomi Kalish, Harold and Carol Wolf, Director of the Center for Pastoral Education, to present the candidates for the degree in JTS's Division of Lifelong and Professional Studies.
Thank you, Dr. Kress. Chancellor Schwartz, the following students have successfully completed the requirements for the degree of Master of Arts in Spiritual Care and Counseling today in the school, and my colleague, Rabbi Naomi Kalish, will now present them to you for those degrees.
Candidates for the degree in the Master of Arts in Spiritual Care and Counseling, You have completed You have completed the prescribed course of instruction. No, this is not.
It is exactly. See?
36.
Yes.
Sorry.
Candidates,
Yeah.
I invite you to rise. You have risen. And to come forward to the platform as I call your names and ask that you return to your seats and remain standing until the degrees are conferred. Sarah and Antine. David Allen Bolto.
Thank you for creating the blessing of this program.
Zachary Caruthers Rothberg. Patrick Coyle. Danielle Escow. Joshua Joseph Gastineau. Susan Glickman. Diane Halivni. Lori Marval. Willa Snowbender.
I hate this hat.
Johanna Tobel.
Thank you, Dr. Springer and Rabbi Kalish. Candidates for the degree of Master of Arts, you have completed the prescribed course of instruction and have fulfilled the language, research, and other requirements of the Division of Lifelong and Professional Studies. In recognition of these accomplishments and acting upon the recommendation of the faculty, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Arts, which you have earned in course. We congratulate you on this well-earned achievement.
At this time, I call upon Dr. Amy Kalmanovsky. Dean of the Albert A. List College of Jewish Studies, to present the candidates for degrees in JTS's undergraduate school.
Thank you, Dr. Kress. Chancellor Schwartz, it is now my privilege to present the successful, the spectacular, the stupendous candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in the Albert A. List College of Jewish Studies. As I call the names of our degree candidates. I invite them to come forward and then to return to their seats and remain standing. Amanda Whitney Beck. Jack Lewis Beck. Minda Kochava Barenholtz. Rachel Beth Binderman. Rose Hannah Klubach. Hannah Cohen. Angelina Dayani. Charlie Feuerman. Kaya Shifra Fine. Dory Fish-Beeler. Gabriel Shai Friedman Nadich. Georgia Freed. Brad Garber. Elise Gilkarov. Clara Madeline Goldberg. Helene Goldberg. Ilana Goldstein. Abner Gordon. David Ayanovich. Maya Jamil. Julia Maya Lang. Devin Gabriel Leslie. Daniela Lewinger. Mark Philip Lubin. Max Mika Levine. Eli Mizrahi Ox. Gabriela Rose Butman Orozco. Michael James Pagovich. Jacob Rabizadeh Resnick. Charlotte Love Reuter. Natan Rosenbaum. Alexander Saul Rosenberg. Yardena Ahava Rubin. Aiden Jacob Schiller. Aaron Abraham Sklar. Jesse Joseph Spear. Evan Spielvogel. Samuel Jacob M. Prock. Elijah B. Weinstein. Bettino Weiser. Julia Robin Weinberg. Zoe Anat Wolfstadt. Lev Zeldin. And Naomi Daniela Zweiback.
Thank you, Dean Kalmanovsky. Members of the List College graduating class, the degree you received today represents, as you well know, a double achievement in humanities studies. Not only have you completed the rigorous JTS undergraduate course of study, but you have amassed a minimum of 60 liberal arts credits, and often more than that, I know. You accomplished this either in our joint program with Columbia University or our double degree program with Barnard College, for which you received or will receive this afternoon an additional Bachelor of Arts degree. The faculty, therefore, takes special pride in your accomplishment. It is now my privilege, members of the undergraduate class of 2026, acting on the recommendation of the faculty, which recognizes your successful course of completion of study in the Albert A. List College of Jewish Studies, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, to confer upon each of you the degree of Bachelor of Arts, which you have earned in course. We congratulate you on your hard-won achievement.
Okay, please be seated. Please be seated. Congratulations. I now call upon Zoe Anat Wolfstadt to speak on behalf of List College graduates.
Good morning, everyone. I want to begin by thanking everyone who has been a part of creating this beautiful day. Chancellor Shuli Schwartz, the JTS trustees, our faculty, and our families, who have all played such a meaningful role in getting us here. When I committed to the joint program between JTS and Columbia, I was expecting the classic college experience, just with a bit more Jewish learning added in. I had no idea how lucky I was to find this program. Over the last 4 years, List College has given me and my classmates 3 enduring gifts. First, JTS has given us the gift of a large and welcoming community that feels like a home away from home. From walks on Broadway between Columbia and JTS classes, smiling and waving at each passing person, to numerous atrium conversations and always knowing we will have a friend to turn to in each class, JTS has created a home for us. Not just at 3080, but in a circle of people we know will always be there for us. When I think about my future after graduation, it includes everyone in my graduating class, and I know that our reunions will be plentiful and well attended. Second, JTS gave us the gift of an education where we learn to think and question, to parse language to tease out deeper meaning, which always leads to more questions. Skills that I know will come in handy in our lives professionally, intellectually, and Jewishly. With degrees from Columbia, Barnard, and JTS, I have no doubt we will make a transformational impact on the world. Here at JTS, we learn the history of Jewish life, examine the stories of the Bible, engage deeply with ethical thought, and so much more. Most of all, we learn to question each text and not to take anything at face value. As an applied math major at Columbia, I had been taught that the answers were black and white, right and wrong. But at JTS, I learned the opposite. I learned how much nuance there is, and how as Jews, we welcome and expect to challenge what we assume is true. Lastly, List College gave us the gift of finding our own Jewish identities. This gift came from the opportunity to study with a pluralistic community where we could learn more about traditions we already practiced and were exposed to new ones, some of which we decided to adopt. Through our experiences at JTS, our eyes were open to the many different ways to be Jewish. Growing up, I followed my family's lead, rarely understanding the true meaning behind each tradition we practiced. During my time here, I've learned the history and meanings behind these traditions, as well as so many new ones that I love to share with my family. I remember for my first Seder in college, I visited my friend Angelina Dayani at her house. I was shocked when during Dayenu, her siblings began hitting each other with green onions, a tradition my family adopted this past Pesach. As I leave JTS, I'm able to teach my family what I have learned and watch them become open to new ideas, meanings, and practices. The last 4 years weren't always easy, and our community went through many challenges. From small spats about who didn't clean the kitchen in the dorms, to leaving campus early with finals on Zoom, we use these 3 gifts of our community, education, and Judaism to find the tools to navigate these moments. We learned that unity does not necessarily mean agreement, and to choose to listen even when it's difficult. We learned to trust the people we could depend on and to become the on-campus family we needed. As we leave JTS, I hope we can take these gifts with us and share them with those around us. Let's remember to question what we are told and search for the reasoning behind the answers, and to celebrate and honor the community we have made, even when our differences show through. Congratulations to the graduating class, and of course, roll half.
Thank you. Thank you, Zoe, and congratulations. I now call upon Rabbi Ayelet Cohen, Pearl Resnick Dean of the Division of Religious Leadership and the Rabbinical School, and Cantor Rabbi Shoshi Levin Goldberg, Director of the H.L. Miller Cantorial School and College of Jewish Music, to present the degree candidate in the Cantorial School.
Thank you, Dr. Kress. Chancellor Schwartz, the following student has successfully completed the requirements for the degree of Master of Sacred Music in the school, and my colleague, Cantor Rabbi Shoshi Levin Goldberg, will now present him to you for that degree.
I invite our candidate to rise and come forward to the platform as I call his name, and then to remain on stage as his degree is conferred. Mark Samuel Schechter.
Thank you, Rabbi Cohen and Cantor Levin Goldberg. Candidate for the degree of Master of Sacred Music, you have completed the prescribed course of instruction and have fulfilled the research and other requirements of the H.L. Miller Cantorial School and College of Jewish Music. In recognition of these accomplishments and acting upon the recommendation of the faculty and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Sacred Music, which you have earned in course. We congratulate you on this well-earned achievement.
I now have the privilege to present to you the students who have successfully completed the requirements for the degree of Master of Arts in the Rabbinical School. Mark Nathan Hirsch. Noah Rubin.
Thank you, Rabbi Cohen. Candidates, you have completed the prescribed course of instruction and have fulfilled the research and other requirements of the Rabbinical School. In recognition of these accomplishments and acting upon the recommendation of the faculty and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Arts, which you have earned in course. We congratulate you on this well-earned achievement.
Chancellor Schwartz, this year's Rabbinical School graduates will be ordained as rabbis at a ceremony taking place later today. Several of those students were awarded Master of Arts degrees earlier in these commencement exercises from the Rabbinical School, the Gershon Kex Graduate School, or the William Davidson School of Jewish Education, or earned one previously. Chancellor Schwartz, at this afternoon's Tekes Hasmacha ceremony of rabbinic ordination, 11 new rabbis will be ordained as preachers and teachers in Israel. I now invite them to rise and remain standing at their seats as I call their names. Zachary Meir Bernstein Rothberg. Sarah Malka Birnbaum. Noam Isaac Blauer. Eitan Raphael Bluestein. Rachel Beth Cohn. Micah Weinberg Cowan. Mark Nathan Hirsch. Jacob Kaplan Lipkin. Wade Jacob Melnick. Sarah Rockford. Noah R. Rubin.
May you be blessed by the Talmudic blessing conferred by Rabbi Ami on his students when they departed from the academy. Siftotecha yabiu da'at, v'chilyotecha talozna mesharim, ufa'amecha yarutzu, lishmoa divrei atik yomin. Let your lips communicate knowledge. May you rejoice in the right with all your heart. May you always run to the commands of God. Mazal tov.
Mazel tov. I now call upon Dr. Cynthia Rochelle Kazarak, who received a Doctor of Education from the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education earlier in this ceremony, to speak on behalf of the graduates of JTS's professional and graduate schools. Doctor.
Thank you. Chancellor Schwartz, esteemed faculty, our distinguished honorary degree recipients, family, friends, and my fellow graduates. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Paulo Coelho wrote that line in The Alchemist, which I first read as a very young philosophy undergrad. The book is about a young shepherd searching for his personal legend, his purpose, the thing he is meant to do in this world. I loved the idea, but I never quite related to it. I didn't know what my personal legend was, and I doubted very much that the universe was overly concerned with me. What I liked about the book wasn't the magic, it was the boy himself. Even without clarity, even when he didn't understand the signs, he kept moving forward, always trying to take the next right step. I'm in my 50s now, and I have reread The Alchemist multiple times since that first reading. It still resonates with me, but until very recently, I hadn't found my personal legend. I was doing exactly what the boy did, moving forward, always trying to take the next right step, even without knowing where it would lead. I grew up in Toronto in the 70s and 80s in a Jewish community shaped by Holocaust survivors, my parents, many of my teachers, the adults who raised me. In that world, I was taught to admire Elie Wiesel, Abraham Joshua Heschel, and Martin Luther King Jr. I saw myself as the inheritor of a proud legacy of moral courage, of people who believed that justice everywhere was a uniquely Jewish responsibility. As our sages teach in Pirkei Avot, "B'makom she'ein anashim, hishtadel li'yot ish." In a place where no one is acting with humanity, strive to be a person. I became an elementary public school teacher in the Toronto District School Board. I became a supplementary school principal at Beth Radham, my home congregation. And when I came to JTS for the Master's in Education program in 2016, it was to deepen my knowledge of Jewish education, to understand my own tradition more fully, to become a better Jewish educator. JTS gave me the grounding, the language, and the intellectual courage I knew I needed to become the leader I wanted to be. A little later, when I entered the doctoral program, I believed that a doctorate focused on Holocaust education would fit naturally into the anti-racist work that was happening across the public school system. I believed that the lessons of the Holocaust would be an integral part of how we taught justice and human dignity in Ontario schools. For the first time, I felt like I had found my path, the perfect intersection of my family's history, my academic and professional goals, and the values that had guided my life. And as I began planning my dissertation, I started doing that work through Holocaust education organizations such as Liberation 75, guided by the coursework I was getting here at JTS, the deep engagement with history and multicultural pedagogies, the training and research methodologies, all of it leading me to ask important questions with the hope of improving our practice. So when Ontario announced a new Holocaust education mandate, I was thrilled. I thought, this is it. This is the perfect topic. This is where I'm meant to be. But as I stepped more fully into the work, that's when I first experienced this subtle, covert anti-Semitism, the quiet erasure of Israel, the pressure to soften Jewish history, the sense that Jewish identity needed to be managed, not expressed. I tried to navigate those boundaries, even though they unsettled me, still believing that the truth could be taught honestly, even within a shrinking space. Then October 7th happened, and everything that had been subtle became unmistakable. The values I had been raised on, justice, solidarity, human dignity, were suddenly turned inside out. The very spaces that had taught me to stand up for every marginalized group could not find their voice for Jews. The silence, the confusion, the distancing, it was devastating. It felt like the ground had shifted under my feet. My dissertation had been planned before October 7th, but I conducted the research shortly after, and the data showed exactly what I had sensed. Teachers describing fear, self-censorship, the narrowing of what could be said, the emotional burden of teaching difficult histories without institutional support. The patterns in the data mirrored the patterns in my own life. And suddenly the world I thought I belonged to no longer recognized Jews as the heroes I had always believed us to be. Suddenly, posting about Golda Meir was getting me in trouble with the school board I had served faithfully for over 3 decades. And that's when I realized I could no longer do the work I thought I was born to do. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks teaches that to defend a country, you need an army, but to defend a civilization, you need schools. And I understood with painful clarity that our civilization needed defending, and I needed to go home. To strengthen my own people, to empower children who are not growing up in the golden age I enjoyed, but in a world where synagogues and schools require armed guards to protect against growing violence. And to stand with the adults, parents, grandparents, and all those who never imagined they would need to relearn how to be Jewish in public as they navigate this new reality with courage and clarity. And so this July, I'm proud to say that I will become the inaugural Director of Lifelong Learning at Holy Blossom Temple in Toronto, where, in recognition of its 170th anniversary, the synagogue school has been named for the Honorable Erwin Kotler. Not only a brilliant Canadian human rights champion, but one of the great Jewish moral voices of our time, who has spent his life insisting that Jewish identity, Jewish literacy, and Jewish courage are inseparable. He reminds us that Jewish education is the antidote to anti-Semitism. I can only hope to live up to that charge and to honor his legacy through the work I now feel called to do. And I have found in Jewish tradition a version of that line from The Alchemist that finally rings true, once again in the words of Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks, where what we want to do meets what needs to be done, that is where God wants us to be. This is where I want to be. This is what needs to be done. This is my personal legend. And it is, I believe, our shared sacred task. So thank you, JTS, for helping us on our way.
Thank you, Cynthia, for your moving and important remarks. I now call to the stage Ben Erla, Chair of the Alumni Advisory Board, to offer words of welcome to our newest alumni.
Good morning, graduates, families, faculty, and friends. On behalf of the alumni and the Alumni Advisory Board, I'm honored to wish you congratulations and welcome you to an alumni community that spans classes and coasts. If I'm honest, it's a bit emotional to be back. So much has changed since I graduated from List College 14 years ago. For me personally, I'll share just 2. I now have 1 big dog and 1 tiny baby. Yet I'm struck by what still remains the same. Walking from the 1 train, I walked past the Columbia Library, where I met my spouse Danielle. Entering JTS, I could not help but walk upstairs to the 2nd floor lounge, where my closest friends, Hava, Laura, and Dan, who are still my closest friends to this day, would always hang out in between classes. Here at JTS, I'm reminded of what the poet Yehuda Amichai boldly claims are the 2 additional commandments. The 11th commandment, don't change. The 12th commandment, you must change. Graduates, as you leave JTS, my hope for you is that you can live up to both. That your love of learning, of Judaism, of history, of text, and of context are lifelong pursuits. That JTS is both an academic home and a spiritual home. And that as you change, and as your lives change, your friends and your community that sit beside you today never do. Come back anytime, stay in touch, and most importantly, go get them.
Thank you, Ben. Dear graduates, you leave these walls at an enormously challenging moment when so much feels unsettled. A world shaped by war and violence, by environmental crisis, by rising intolerance and polarization. A world transformed by extraordinary technological advances that inspire both awe and anxiety. And as you know, and as we've heard, this moment carries particular pain for Jews as we experience a sharp rise in anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism that is alarming. And it's doubly worrisome because we know that anti-Semitism is never only a Jewish problem. History has taught us that when hatred toward Jews flourishes openly, it serves as a warning sign of fracture in society's moral fabric. These challenges may understandably feel overwhelming to you, yet as you graduate today, I stand before you not filled with despair, but with immense hope. For I know that you are both extraordinarily capable and prepared to contribute your talents to ameliorating these challenges. One of the gifts of studying history, maybe especially Jewish history, is that it prevents us from lapsing into amnesia. For as President Herzog reminded us by quoting Abraham Joshua Heschel, whenever we forget, history sends us a reminder, one that takes the form of crisis, literal and spiritual. But we also learn from history that crisis often fuels renewal. Jews know what it means to build amid instability, to create meaning amid turmoil, to continue teaching and learning and loving, even when the world feels broken. You have shown your aptitude for continuing in this tradition. So what lessons do I hope you'll carry with you from your time at JTS to face the future with discernment, creativity, and hope? First and foremost is the importance of learning, the ability to think, to question, to debate, to listen carefully, and the impetus to use those skills throughout your lives, to continue learning, to continue the search for truth, knowing that truth is often complex, layered, and both elusive and demanding. Second, ground your lives in relationship to others. We live in an age of constant communication, yet human connection feels increasingly rare. Relationships are built when people show up vulnerably and encounter the person sitting right in front of them. When I was dean, I'd frequently encourage students to speak to their professors. What I meant was, naively, I realized, go to office hours, sit together, ask questions. What students heard was, send an email. This often left students upset when the interaction did not produce productive feedback, meaningful guidance, or an expression of concern that the students craved. Email, as good as it is, just doesn't cut it. Cultivating trusting relationships with peers, professors, deans, employers, and family takes time, effort, and especially presence. You've done this in so many ways over the years, praying together in our synagogue, hanging out in the atrium, which usually doesn't have so many chairs in it, hanging out in the Moadon or by Student Life, lighting the gorgeous JTS Chanukiah and singing Hanukkah songs together as a community, leaning on one another for comfort and support, celebrating hard-earned wins, and new milestones achieved with one another. Strengthening relationships is especially important in difficult times, when our gut pulls us to draw inward and narrow our circle of concern. It's vital to remember that Judaism calls us towards both Ahavat Yisrael and Ahavat Habriot, love of the Jewish people and love of humanity. These two commitments are meant to strengthen one another, enabling us not only to enrich our lives, but to enrich the world at large as well. Let's celebrate the relationships that have sustained you, the faculty who engaged you in learning, deans and mentors who advised and supported you, families and friends who nurtured and encouraged you throughout. Cherish those relationships, build upon them, and make new ones throughout your life. Third, resilience. It's a good thing that when I began my chancellorship, I never uttered the words, "When things calm down, that's when I will." I would have gotten nothing done. There was always another crisis, uncertainty, or unexpected turn. If we had waited for the perfect moment, we would never have moved forward as an institution, creating community virtually during COVID, hiring new faculty, launching new programs, fostering new partnerships. Of course, this resilience extends to this past week as well. When we received the disappointing news that President Herzog would be unable to join us in person, we quickly adjusted the plan so that we would be able to hear his remarks virtually. Our tradition has been shaped by resilient individuals who succeeded in adapting effectively without surrendering their core values. We must all similarly adapt, always, to changing circumstances with resilience and strength. And finally, and probably the attribute that undergirds all the others, humility. Because no matter how much we've learned and will learn from texts and with another, there's so much we'll never know. No matter how great our achievements might be, we're all on the same plane. We're all basar vadam, flesh and blood. We must always be intellectually curious and emotionally open to learning from others, embracing complexity and nuance while holding firmly to our moral compass. The rabbis often like to describe Torah by likening it to water. I'm drawn to one of these metaphors from the Babylonian Talmud in Ta'anit. Rabbi Hanina Bar Idi said that the Torah is likened to water because minichin makom gavoah v'holchin l'makom namuch. Ach divrei Torah ein mitkaimin ela b'mi shedato shvala. Just as water leaves a high place and flows down to a low place, so too Torah is retained only by one whose spirit is lowly. In other words, by a humble person. Let the Torah that you have learned, Torah in its most expansive way, seep into you and continue to sustain you like water. And may you share it with others, not from on high, but by reaching out to others with humility and humanity. As you leave JTS and begin your next chapter, I offer you this blessing. May you remain intellectually curious and continue learning. May you build lives rooted not only in accomplishment, but in meaningful relationship. May you embody resilience and humility. May you remain open to complexity without compromising your core values. Class of 2026, may you bring wisdom, courage, compassion, and hope into whatever future awaits you. Mazal Tov.
Let's give Chancellor Schwartz one last ovation. At this time, I want to thank Dr. Schwartz for her important remarks, and I'm sure the graduates will take those words with them as they go forth. I also want to thank Dr. Schwartz for our partnership over these last 6 years and express again the deep gratitude of the entire community for that work. I want to thank Dr. Schwartz and Dr. Kress for conferring the degrees in course, and of course thank the Commencement Planning Committee for all their hard work and success in producing today's beautiful ceremony, and congratulate all of you again. A final word to the graduates, if I may. Thanks. Please look at 3080 JTS as your second home. The doors here are always open to you, to come, to learn, to reconnect, to recharge. In your work, whatever it may be, we need you guys to identify people like yourselves, excellent students, potential lay leaders, good Jews, to come to JTS to study like you studied, so that the collective future of this institution is ever stronger. And in that way, we will all go from strength to strength. We've reached the end of today's ceremonies. On behalf of the faculty, administration, and the board, I want to thank everyone for coming and joining us and sharing the very exciting and meaningful day. I now declare these 132nd commencement exercises of the Jewish Theological Seminary to be concluded. Thank you.